Good morning, kids. Nice to see you again, and I hope we can see each other really, really soon. I know it's been a long time, and you must miss the school, I hope, right? Okay, today we are going to start working on chapter 9, lesson 2, plain states, on page 282. Everybody there? Okay, let's begin. As you remember, how the dynamic works is we read, I explain, we read, and you ask questions. Remember that if you have any questions, you will have to write them down in the platform, and I will be answering questions as we go along, okay? Plain states, you are there. What a terrific day. You're going to Grand Forks in North Dakota. This is one of your favorite trips. Not only do you get to visit your cousins, but you get to see how the land changes as you travel. Once you and your family drive away from the city of Fargo, you see wide open farmland. As you gaze out the window, you see farmers harvesting their crops. As you near Grand Forks, the land changes again. More and more buildings and homes begin to dot the landscape. Then, once again, you're in a city. Okay. Open spaces. The plain states are Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, and South Dakota. Large stretches of mostly flat plains, farmland, and ranches separate the cities and towns in the regions. You need to remember that when we saw the landforms of the United States, we saw that this is the coastal part of the east side. Then we had the Appalachian Mountains. Then we had the big side of the plains. Remember, that's what we are talking about. Because on this side we have the Rocky Mountains, and then we have the coast again. So this area is what we are talking about. The plains. Okay, it's flat, no mountains, no nothing. Natural attractions. The open spaces of the plains state offer many interesting views. In some places, wild buffalo and wild horses roam freely. Why do you think these animals live here? Why do you think they love to be in this area? Because they have tall grasses. They have a lot of food to eat. So you will find many of those animals in these areas. In Nebraska, a grassland are called the sandhills covers about 1/4 of the state. So that means if we divide this area into 4 pieces, this is only going to be Nebraska. Not all the plains region is flat. Forested mountains cover the Ozark Plateau in southern Missouri. In the Badlands of South Dakota, spectacular colored rock formations are found. But you're not going to find big mountains like the Appalachians or the Rocky Mountains, okay? It's going to be mountains, but not that steep, not that high, okay? It's going to be a little bit more rounded mountains. Inspiration on the plains. The open spaces of the plain states have inspired many artists. Willa Cather wrote "All Pioneers" and other books about pioneers who settled on the Nebraska frontier. Thomas Hart Benton painted rural scenes in the region. One of his murals now hangs in the Missouri State Capitol in Jefferson City. Some artists use the landforms of the plains in their artwork. Mount Rushmore National Memorial, for example, is carved into the side of a mountain in South Dakota's Black Hills. Just a few miles away, artists are now creating a similar memorial to the Lakota Sioux leader, Crazy Horse. Now, why do you think many people want to use this view, these scenes in their artwork? Because they say it's a very pretty scene. As you can see on page 283, if you stand there and you look at this picture, it would be amazing just to be there and just look at it. Well, many people have wanted to carve these scenes into their artwork, okay? So it's very, very important for many people. Let's turn the page to page 284. Changes in farming. Farming in the Plains states has changed greatly since the days of the early settlers. Today's farmers have new technology and new crops. Do you guys remember when we talked about settlers coming to the plains, that we said that the government was paying the settlers with the land if they could stay for 5 years? Remember that? Well, if you remember, they didn't have any help. Okay, they were doing it on their own. They were inventing things. They were trying to do it, anything possible to survive and to live there. Now, in those times, of course, they didn't have that technology that we have now. So that's what we are going to be talking about right now. It says, new tools and new crops. Farmers use modern farm machines to help them grow and harvest more crops in less time. Many farmers also use computers to help them decide what crops to plant, when to plant, fertilize, and harvest, and where to get the best prices for their crops. Plains farmers have learned that growing several kinds of crops instead of just one has many benefits. Varying crops helps keep the soil fertile. It also reduces the number of pests that damages the crops. Besides growing corn and wheat, Plains farmers now grow barley, canola, flax, soybeans, and sunflowers. So as you can see, they not only grow one type of crop, they grow many in different types of the years. They have to decide, okay, now I'm going to grow beans. When I harvest the beans, I will grow wheat. After the wheat, I will grow sunflowers, and so on, because they have to let the soil recover. And some plants damage the soil, so they have to know which plant to grow one after the other one, okay? So that their soil can recover. And as you can see, they now even use computers, okay? The computer tells them what crop is going to come next, so that their soil can recover depending on the damage that the previous one had done, okay? Bigger farms, bigger harvest. Using new farming methods enables farmers to grow more crops on each acre of land. These new ways also make it possible for farmers to plant large areas of land. In fact, most farms in the region today are about 3 times larger than they were 100 years ago. Most farms in the Plains regions are now owned by large companies. These farms are like huge factories. Machines do much of the work on these large farms. Now, if we go back then, when the first settlers came, they didn't have the tools, they didn't have computers, they didn't have machines, they didn't have anything. They had to do it on their own. So let's say that they were going to grow wheat. Now, if they are going to grow wheat, let's say they have these 4 areas to grow wheat. Probably one family was working on it. Let's say a family of 5 members. How much wheat do you think they can harvest in one day if there are only 5 persons? Okay, how many corns can they pick up in one day? Well, I don't think that many. Now, they don't even use persons to do it. Now they use machines. They use computers to do it. So now that's why they say it's 3 times bigger than it was before. Okay, so now they are big factories, but in the farms. They're not inside a building. They're outside. They're in the forest. They're in the camp. They're in the farms. They're harvesting without anybody even having to put one hand on it. It's only machines. Okay, so they are improving. Next page, 285. Cities. New technology means that farms and ranches need fewer workers. So some people have moved to cities to work. This shift of people to cities from rural areas is called urbanization. Now, these places don't need people anymore to work for them. Why? Because machines are working for them. And where are these people going now? Well, they have to move to a city where they need people, workers. So when these people move from the rural area to the city, it's called urbanization. Linking farms, ranches, and cities. People who live in cities need food. They need the crops grown on farms and the cattle raised on ranches. In turn, farmers and ranchers use goods and services from the city. For example, Agua Prieta. Where does Agua Prieta get their vegetables from? Farms. We depend on farms to get fruits and vegetables. We depend on ranchers to sell meat from their cows. So they depend on us to get everything they need to grow their crops, everything they need to feed their animals. So we need each other, okay? The farm needs the city and the city needs the farm. Now, some cities' industries depend on the region's farm and ranches. One such industry is food processing. Factories use crops of corn and wheat to make flour, breads, pastas, and margarine. Meat packing companies prepare cattle from ranchers for market. Not all city industries are related to agriculture. Kansas City, Missouri, Joyce C. Hall started a business in 1910 that has become the world's largest greeting card company. Omaha, Nebraska, and Des Moines, Iowa have major insurance industries. In Missouri, Branson is a center of entertainment and tourism. So as you can see, cities not only depend on agriculture, on vegetables and fruits. We also depend on many things. So many cities depend on industries, on technology. Okay, so each part of the plains is depending on different things, not only on farms, okay? Last page, 286. Global connection. Plains are found all over the world. In South America, a plains region called the Pampas covered much of the country of Argentina. The Pampas has much in common with the plains states. Farmers in both regions grow wheat and corn. In addition, cattle ranching and meat packing are major industries. Why do they depend? Because they have a lot of cattle. They have a lot of cows. So those cities near them need the jobs to help them put the meat into packages. And who's going to do it? Well, not the people in the ranch or in the farm. They have to ask for help. So they hire a company to do it for them. So they need each other. Okay? So that's our lesson for today, Plain States, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.